Hey yo, what's going on YouTube? This your boy Showtime Nazar, the flyest vlogger on the planet. Welcome back to the channel. Thank you to everyone that likes, subscribe, to share my last video. You're greatly appreciated. To everyone new to the channel, I need y'all to go ahead and hit that subscribe button right there on your screen. Turn on bell notifications on so that you can stay up to date on all my latest content. Now let's get into the video. To begin, I want to talk about the Verzuz battle that happened Monday night between Monica and Brandy. The battle was pretty epic in my opinion. Both of them ladies played some of my favorite hits from both of them. I do want to overall say the battle was amazing, and I think that Brandy, in my opinion, had no chance from the get-go. I don't know who won, but I wasn't expecting Brandy to play some of those hits. I honestly forgot that she had some of the songs that she played. That Chris Brown Put It Down record, I forgot she had that. In my opinion, I only expected Brandy to get about 10 or 12 records simply because I thought all of her hits were from the 90s. I didn't recall her having any bangers from the 2000s. I knew that Kanye West record was going to get played. That was pretty much it though. I didn't really think that. I knew she had the Full Moon album. I just couldn't remember what was on it, and I knew that was one of the songs that she's going to play. As far as Monica though, I knew that majority of her hits came in the 2000s. She did have a few in the 90s, but I knew that Monica was popping in the 2000s. So for me, I knew that Monica had more quote-unquote relevant songs because, again, her career really took off in the 2000s. Brandy's takeoff was more in the 90s. So I couldn't remember if Brandy had enough 90s hits to carry her throughout the battle. But I got surprised by Brandy because she did end up having that Chris Brown record tucked away, and that just blew me away. So all in all, Brandy did fight back, and it kind of made it an even battle. To me, I went in with the idea that Monica was just gonna sweep the floor with Brandy, but she fought back, and she actually did an amazing job. So kudos to both of them ladies. And now I just don't know who won. I'm gonna be honest with you. I enjoyed the battle in its entirety, though. Now let's talk about the part that had everybody going crazy on Twitter, and which was the tension between the two. I don't know too much about that. And honestly, I actually didn't even notice it in the beginning. I had to actually go back and watch it just to see like where people were coming up with this assumption. And now after watching it again, I can see where the jabs were coming from, because Monica did say that they haven't spoken in 8 years, which makes sense because the last time that they were seen together was that video, or was that song that they had together in 2012. So when we haven't seen any spottings of Monica and Brandy since then. I definitely think that after rewatching it, I could see the tension and where there were kind of some sore spots and some kind of like fake love between them. But it wasn't, when I say fake love, it wasn't like, oh, I don't like you, you don't like me type of thing. It was kind of like, we're not there yet. So Brandy was kind of trying to make light of situations, and Monica just wasn't feeling it because she had said they had to have a talk prior to them doing the Verzuz battle. And part of the reason that there's tension is because of the track The Boy Is Mine. Apparently Monica had it, Brandy had it removed off of Monica's album. That's why if you try to go to it on Apple Music, that you can't play it. So, and I guess Monica didn't like how it transpired. So that's what the rumor is. They just haven't had a chance to actually hash out the details. It seems like they're in a better place now, but time will tell, right? Now, something else that came across my timeline. I was chilling. I came across this video of Joe Budden responding to Charlamagne in regards to his Spotify deal, right? So if you don't know, Joe Budden is no longer with Spotify based on contract issues. Spotify did want him to return, however, Joe Budden decided not to. Joe Budden then responded to Charlamagne the God and DJ Envy, saying that they don't understand ownership and that they can't relate to Joe Budden and his contract situation because they don't own their content, right? Breakfast Club is a part of iHeart. And because iHeart made the Breakfast Club a podcast, you guys can't relate. So here's my thing with Joe Budden, right? I love and I hate Joe Budden at the same time. And I don't really hate him, but I dislike Joe Budden, right? because I think Joe Budden is necessary to the culture of hip hop, but I also think he hinders it too because he has these Kanye West like rants where he's so I am Joe Budden, hear me roar, beating my chest, that his message and what he's trying to convey gets lost in all that fluff that he spewing. So to begin with, his message was correct in that he's trying to preach ownership, right? He wants creatives like myself to learn ownership. And I agree with that, right? Ownership is very important when it comes to being a creative, right? Because you don't want people stealing your content and or having rights to your content. And once they feel like they're done with you, they can still profit off of you. You don't want that, right? That's why a lot of rappers today are preaching ownership, ownership, ownership. Even being part of a business, they want you to have ownership. So I agree with that message. In that video that I saw, a lot of things I agree with. Again, it got lost because of him trying to poke his chest out and show that he is superior to Charlamagne. And that is not what you should have been trying to show, because at the beginning of your message, it was pure, it was clean. Once he started telling Envy and Charlamagne that they don't understand because of how Breakfast Club is constructed and that they have been a syndicated radio station for the last 10 years. First of all, that information is inaccurate because they have not been a nationally syndicated radio station for 10 years. I want to say they only been in the spotlight like they are now for about 5 to 6 years maybe. I want to say 2014 is when I really started, or when I saw them start to flourish. But whether or not they are, that's neither here nor there. You can't blame Charlamagne and Envy for what iHeart decided to do with their show. Okay. Also, I didn't like the fact that he brought up Dame Dash, trying to say that Dame Dash was trying to tell you guys about ownership when he went to the Breakfast Club. Dame Dash was a terrible analogy or a terrible example to try to present your argument, because in that interview, all Dame Dash was doing was belittling people that have jobs. It's not saying nothing about ownership. Dame Dash he was mentioning ownership, and he was saying that, well, because you guys don't own this radio station, you can't pass that on your son. He did make that. He did say that in there. So I will say that he was trying to speak about ownership. However, did the same thing Joe Budden did. It got lost in all the fluff because you tried to belittle people. All these guys fall under the same umbrella. Kanye West, Joe Budden, Dame Dash, a bunch of guys that are brilliant minds and are necessary to the culture of hip hop. But what they do is they forget that people are the reason why they're doing this. So if you start to talk about people in a manner that makes them feel less than, you're losing your audience, right? So Joe Budden, again, you are preaching ownership, but then you get to a point where you don't understand me because we're not in the same space because of because of where you work. But they do understand because they're in media, and they also have their own podcasts as well, and they also try to create their own shows. So if anybody's gonna understand, it's going to be those two gentlemen, right? That's just all I want to say about that. I just feel like he's a necessary person in hip hop, but he also loses his mind when it comes to trying to convey message. The reason why I say Joe Budden is Kanye West, because Kanye West did the same thing when he went on Sway. Well, Sway, you ain't got the answers. That's where that came from. Sway was trying to ask him, well, explain it, Kanye. Why can't you do this? Why can't you do that? Joe Budden explained why this can't be done. All you said in that interview was, I'm not finna explain it to niggas. Spread the knowledge. If we're trying to get to the ownership part, you can't say, I'm trying to preach ownership. I'm trying to create a space for people to be owners, but I don't want to explain it to niggas. Then you're doing no good. You're no good to us. On to the next. Alright, y'all, that's all the time I got for today's video. If you like this video, please subscribe, share, and comment, alright? And until next time, I'm out of here, y'all. Peace.